And he joins us here, of course, out there in California. Al, it's a pleasure. Nice to talk. How are you today, pal? Okay?
Chris, always great to be with you, especially reminiscent. Can't believe that was, 35 years ago? Woo-wee.
And you had a stretch there, Al. A lot of big games. That one, of course, that World Series '86, Seattle, the Dave Henderson home run there against the Angels for the Red Sox. You had the '87 Game 7 with the Twins. You had a lot of stretch of big baseball there in the '80s for ABC. Let's talk about that for a sec. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Yeah, '88 was Dodgers Mets in the playoffs, which was great. That went 7 games. '89, of course, was the earthquake. But, Dog, one of my favorite memories of that '85 World Series is, of course, the Denkinger call at first base, blew the call. Kansas City is able to win the game, and the next night they go on and they win 11-0 to win the World Series. And the game fell apart in the 5th inning. And remember, Whitey Herzog brought Joaquin Andujar into the game, and there was this tremendous blow-up, and Denkinger's now the home plate umpire. And Whitey comes out, Herzog comes out and gets thrown out of the game. In the 5th inning, the score, I think, at that point was about 8-0. So the game, in effect, was over. After the game, Whitey could be a little cantankerous, so he comes into the press conference, and no writer really wants to start, but somebody finally does, and says, Whitey, how can a manager possibly get thrown out of the 7th game of a World Series? And Whitey looked at the guy and he said, I'd seen enough. One of the great stories. One of the great stories in the aftermath of that World Series in 1985.
Yeah, the Royals were due one because they had lost in '80. They were good with the Yankees, who beat them in '76, '77, '78. That was not their best team, but they were due winning one, and that's the one they got. How you doing now? We haven't talked in a long time. I haven't seen you in a while. Give me a little rundown out in California. Give me a little sense of the Al Michaels family and how you're doing right now. Let me hear. Go ahead.
Knock on wood or plexiglass or whatever we're knocking on these days, Dog. Everybody's doing great. Looking forward to hopefully what's the start of baseball and basketball and hockey and then football. Who knows? The camps are supposed to open up in a month. So I'm pretty much like everybody else. I think, I live by that credo at this point of nobody knows anything. Because you turn on the television every day, you pick up the paper, and there's all kinds of conflicting and contrasting opinions. So I don't know what's going to happen. Everybody keeps saying to me, what do you think? And I'm going, I don't know. This thing changes not only day by day, but hour by hour. But hopefully things can calm down, things can settle down, and we can have these sports seasons because people who love sports are, just waiting in the wings here and really hopeful that we can, get this, what I call distraction, but hopefully it's more than a distraction because it would mean that we're on our way to, beginning to end this thing. So, Dog, at this particular point, I'm like everybody else. I've got a big question mark looming out there. Don't know what's going to happen.
We'll talk about football in a sec. I listen, it's something different in baseball. 60 games. It's baseball sometimes gets knocked for being too long a season. Now you're going to go the other way, and you got a sprint on your hands, but something different. I mean, every game is going to mean something. The inopportune 7-game losing streak could ruin a year. You got a virus floating around, so if the wrong team gets hit by it at the wrong time, that's something you can't predict. It's going to be a weird and something different. I think kind of fun baseball sprint here once July 23rd comes. Let's go there first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it should be that way. But, I mean, if somebody gets hurt, if somebody got hurt like in May in the regular season and was out for a month, it would be a deal, but not nearly as big a deal as it will be right now. So I think for a lot of these teams, especially for the pitching, keep them healthy, keep your rotation in fine order. Make sure your closer. I mean, out here, the big story last couple of days is that Kenley Jansen tested positive for COVID-19, but he seems to be on the track coming back and is ready to play. He said by the end of July when the Dodgers begin play again. There are so many mysteries. I mean, Dog, we go back to the asterisk. And what's the first time we heard about the asterisk? I think it was in 1961. Of course, when Roger Maris is trying to catch Babe Ruth, and everybody's talking about the asterisk. And then we've had a bunch of asterisks through the years. Of course, with the Bonds and McGuire and Sosa era. This whole year is going to be an asterisk. But I think you're right. I think in a way, it's like, wow, the season is too short. But in another way, I just think of it as everybody is tied for first place on August the 1st, and off we go into the Wild Blue Yonder.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, something different. Again, if we have a Marlin Oriole World Series, maybe I'll have a different opinion. But,
Yes.
at the moment, I think it's something different. How about football, Al? I mean, do you expect? I mean, I know you just hinted there a minute or two ago. Let's wait and see. Football, I mean, it doesn't feel like there's going to be fans, which is going to affect the home field ambiance because home field is very important in that sport. You're going to be doing all the games. You got a sense? Do you think the season's going to be delayed? Doesn't sound like there's going to be much of a preseason. Give me a little status report right now. You're the voice of the league. Give me a little status report right now of the NFL. Go ahead.
Well, when the league came out with the schedule, Dog, they came out with a full preseason schedule, and our first game at NBC was going to be the Hall of Fame game on Thursday night. I think the date was August the 6th, so that got scrubbed. Our first preseason game now is scheduled to go on August the 30th. So they're looking at a 2-game preseason for these teams. A lot of the players I hear don't want to have a preseason period. Can you get the season started? It would be an NBC game on, I think, Thursday night, the 10th of September, which is Houston at Kansas City against the Super Bowl champions. But I think before you get there, Dog, I mean, there are so many things you have. 32 teams, maybe 80 guys coming in, 90 guys into camp. So you've got 2,000 players. And I was talking to a couple of Rams recently out here, and they were telling me they have a laundry list of about 24 things that they have to do before they even begin to think about the game plan and think about practicing, including getting up, taking your temperature, coming to the facility, wearing a mask, wearing gloves, going in this particular door, getting swabbed, only X number of guys in the weight room, social distancing in the meeting rooms, no cafeteria. You order, you get it in a bag, you eat outside. So you've got all of these things that if you're a player, you're thinking about that you have to do every day. And then you think about the game plan, you think about practicing. And, of course, that sport, of course, is the ultimate, contact sport with guys going left and right, blood and sweat and all of the rest. So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, and it has to come out. It has to come out on the good side for this to even take place. So, and then, it's a shame in a way because you've got a brand new stadium here in Los Angeles, which I've toured a number of times already. It's going to be off the charts. Vegas has a new stadium. Everybody's excited there. And yet, you're going to have this opening weekend, if you do, and let's hope you do, with no fans or maybe a quarter of the fans or however many they can put in. Nobody seems to know at this point, Mad Dog. So, as I say, when people say to me, is there going to be a season? I just go, I don't know, like everybody else.
Yeah. Voices of the game, Al. You're part of the great crew. You moved to L.A. in '58, so you know all about Barber, Scully. That's a great honor for you. Well, look at the sounds of the game. We'll look for that tonight, 7 o'clock. Always a pleasure. Good to talk. We'll chat again soon. Thanks so much today, pal.
You got it, Dog. Take care, buddy.